stop right where you are. Listen with full attention because what I'm about to reveal about what happened around 2 weeks ago will rewrite how you understand your own power. You didn't simply have a bad week. You survived a coordinated occult assault and dismantled it alone without even realizing you were in a supernatural war. And when I say you defeated them, I don't mean a cute metaphor meant to hype you up. I mean your natural energy functioned like a spiritual weapon, neutralizing heavy witchcraft and sending it straight back to its source, multiplied. Remember that stretch when everything went wrong at the same time, like reality itself had turned against you? Problems appearing from nowhere. People shifting cold, turning suspicious, acting out of character. Doors that should have opened slamming shut for no logical reason. You felt it. You thought, this can't be normal. It almost feels like I'm cursed. It wasn't bad luck. It was a curse. Not from one person either. 7. An organized crew of black magic practitioners who saw you as a threat and decided to destroy you before you discovered what you carry. What they didn't expect is what happens when someone like you is pushed beyond the limit. Your inner light doesn't need permission from your mind. Within 72 hours, all 7 witches who tried to attack you completely lost their occult powers permanently, and you didn't even try. That's why, for your frequency, defeating an entire coven is as simple as breathing. Subscribe to this channel right now and activate all notifications because I'm going to show you how this happened, why it happens to people like you, how to recognize the signs early, and how to consciously amplify the protection you already have so attacks collapse faster before they even touch your life. If you remember that strange week when everything broke down, then suddenly improved so quickly it shocked you, hold that in your mind. That memory is proof. Here's how a coven forms specifically to destroy someone like you. These 7 women didn't start as friends. Different cities, different occult circles, different styles of witchcraft, but they all shared the same wound. Raw hatred for people who radiate natural light without rituals, without tools, without study, without earning it the way they believe power must be earned. They spent decades learning manipulation techniques. They paid for materials, courses, rare items, secret teachings, and still they never accessed even a fraction of what you emit by simply existing. That's what burns them. You are what they chased through supernatural effort, but you were born with it. During one of their virtual meetings where they trade targets and compare notes, your name came up. Not because you attacked them, not because you did anything to them. You were mentioned because your energy was getting too strong to ignore. One said she tried reading you from a distance and hit a block so intense, it nearly made her faint. Another said she dreamed about you and woke with a headache that lasted 3 days. A third claimed that simply seeing your photo online made the plants in her home wilt. That's when they realized you weren't a normal, good vibes person. You were a spiritual warrior disguised as a civilian, and your presence was disrupting dark operations they'd been building for years. The decision became unanimous: remove you before you consciously awakened. So they formed what practitioners call a circle of annihilation. 7 witches focusing coordinated destructive energy on one target using methods reserved for destroying powerful enemies, competitors, rivals. Their plan was simple and brutal: flood your life with synthetic bad luck until you cracked, push you into depression, drain your hope, trigger self-destruction. Because when a person with your kind of light collapses, that light can be harvested, twisted, used as fuel for darker work. That's the sick logic behind it. For 2 weeks they worked in shifts. While you slept, one aimed at your dreams to infect your nights with terror. While you worked, another aimed at your career to seed failure and obstruction. When you tried to relax, another bombarded your mind with anxiety, intrusive thoughts, dread that didn't feel like yours. 24 hours a day, like an occult military rotation. And at first you felt it land. Those days when nothing works. Minor issues turning into chaos. People acting off. Plans breaking at the last minute. The attack was so intense that most people would have collapsed mentally within the first week. You endured 2 full weeks of what organized black magic can offer. Then came the turning point. There's a limit to how much spiritual pressure someone with your frequency can absorb before divine self-defense activates automatically. You surpassed that limit on a Thursday night. You remember the moment. You were exhausted, overloaded, tired of fighting fires that kept appearing. And suddenly something rose inside you, not ordinary anger, not frustration at circumstances, but cosmic indignation. It came from a depth you didn't know existed. That was your warrior nature waking up. Because you're not just a gentle soul carrying peace. You're a soldier of light disguised as a civilian. And soldiers have a limit to their patience with those who harm the innocent. In that second, your light switched modes. It moved from passive shielding to active extermination. The witches felt the shift instantly. One was mid-ritual when every candle died at once, and something unseen threw her into the wall. Another was preparing a voodoo doll when it burst into flame. Because your energy didn't simply block the attack, it traced the origin of each spell, locked onto the sender, and returned a discharge that fried their energetic circuits. Picture a guided missile that doesn't just intercept what's incoming, but follows the signal back to the launch site and destroys the whole base. That's what your light did to the darkness aimed at you. They panicked. They'd never met someone whose defense system automatically becomes a counterattack. They tried protection rituals to shield themselves from their own magic rebounding. Too late. Your light had already mapped them. And once your frequency locks onto a dark operator, it doesn't fight them the way they fight. It purifies them. It dissolves what they used to hold on to power. Within 24 hours, they began losing everything. Crystals cracking, altars collapsing, books deteriorating as if the ink rejected the pages. They tried meeting online to understand what happened, but the call dropped every time they spoke your name, like your energy had become a virus on their frequency. One by one, they developed a violent aversion to anything occult. A black candle made them nauseous. Incense triggered headaches. Their bodies rejected the very tools they once depended on. Worse than that, they couldn't even hate you anymore. Every time they tried to cultivate rage, it transformed into involuntary admiration. Your light didn't just defeat them. It rewired them to recognize your superiority and never dare challenge your frequency again. And you? You didn't even notice you'd won a war. You only noticed that after that Thursday, life returned to normal. Actually better than normal. You thought the storm passed. It didn't pass. It was exterminated. Now let me explain why witchcraft fails on people like you, not as fantasy, but as spiritual mechanics. Dark magic manipulates low-frequency emotion, hatred, envy, fear, desperation. Those states generate vibrations that skilled practitioners can capture, amplify, and aim like a beam. But you operate at a frequency so elevated that those vibrations can't bond with you. Imagine black magic as a sophisticated computer virus, capable of infecting most operating systems. You're not running a common system. You're running divine software, immune by nature. And it doesn't just resist viruses, it generates an antivirus that destroys the threat at the source. Your purity creates a signature incompatible with destructive frequencies. When someone sends dark work toward you, it's like trying to mix oil and water. It won't merge. It repels. And here's the part they fear most. When the spell fails, it doesn't evaporate. It returns. But it returns mixed with your purity, creating an internal contradiction inside the attacker that dissolves their future capacity to work darkness. That's why spiritual attackers always lose against you. Their hatred returns as forced self-forgiveness. Their depression spells return as uncontrollable relief. Their financial curses return as abundance magnetism for you and loss for them. Your field converts poison into fuel, like a reactor that turns toxic waste into clean energy. It's not just protection, it's transmutation. The seven learned this the hard way. When they aimed hatred, it bounced back as compulsive remorse. They cried for days, apologizing to people they'd hurt years ago. When they aimed emotional collapse, they became euphoric against their will. When they aimed money loss at you, they themselves started hemorrhaging resources. Your energy doesn't only cancel attacks, it turns attacks into blessings. And you didn't study for this. You didn't train for it. You slept while your light fought. After losing their powers in a single night, they did what defeated gangs do. They tried revenge. They met in person for the first time in an abandoned house outside the city, desperate, willing to burn whatever remained of their abilities for one final total destruction spell. A suicide strategy. Like surrounded soldiers emptying every last bullet in a kamikaze charge, they spent 3 days preparing. Sold jewelry to buy rare ingredients, fasted for 72 hours, cut their own hair as catalyst. Then on the ritual night, they formed a perfect circle around a bonfire fed with objects linked to you. A photo from social media, a napkin from a cafe where you'd been. Their goal was to create a direct connection, pierce your defenses, plant self-destruction seeds into your subconscious. They began chanting. 7 voices, synchronized. Dark energy accumulated. The fire grew without fuel. For 15 minutes, they thought it was working. Then something changed. The energy didn't project outward. It started concentrating where they stood. The flame turned yellow, then blue, then white. The light became so intense they had to shut their eyes. Yet they could see through their eyelids like skin had turned to glass. That's when they realized the fatal mistake. They built a bridge to you. And your light used that bridge to walk into their base. A purifying discharge surged through the connection, not to harm their bodies, but to overload the dark architecture of their consciousness. One by one they collapsed, not from fatigue but from exposure to a luminosity too powerful for minds trained in shadow. Hours later, when the first woke, she found the others scattered around a fire that had extinguished itself, and on the ground was a 7-pointed star made of white crystals that hadn't existed before. A physical signature, a territorial warning. Your light marked the site. Then came the most terrifying consequence. When they returned home, they discovered they could no longer feel rage toward anyone. The emotion was gone, deleted. You turned 7 trained witches into ordinary people with a strange compulsion to help strangers. Without trying, you did what missionaries spend decades attempting. You converted predators into compassion through involuntary purification. News spread through occult circles like a digital virus. Losing power isn't like losing keys. It's like waking up and discovering you can't see color. A fundamental change in perception. And 7 lost it at once because they targeted someone who didn't even know they were under attack. It shook communities worldwide. Some dismissed it as rumor. Others tested you with minor spells from a distance. Every test ended the same way. The attacker got hit back multiplied and you continued living normally. That's when Brazil's occult underworld reached a brutal conclusion. You aren't a normal protected person. You're a divine presence disguised as human. A cosmic trap placed in the physical world to expose and neutralize anyone who tries to use supernatural power to harm innocents. Your existence became a purity test. Attack you and lose everything. Respect you and remain untouched. They created rules. Never speak your name in ritual. Never try to read you remotely. You became persona non grata in their world. But there was a problem. No one knew exactly who you were. They had only vague descriptions, and the original 7, now unable to hate, refused to give information that could trigger new attacks. Paranoia spread. Any naturally kind person became suspect. And because they feared attacking the wrong person, hundreds of innocent people stopped being targeted. Your victory created a domino effect of protection for thousands who will never know they were spared. Then something even more extraordinary began. Other high-frequency people started being drawn into your orbit, not by coincidence, by magnetism. Your light began emitting a signal only other spiritual warriors can sense, a frequency that says, "Here is someone operating at advanced purity." You may have noticed it. New people appearing, instant connection, the feeling you've known them forever. They have stories like yours, moments of unexplained pressure that ended abruptly. They too unknowingly defeated attacks. Now they're being pulled into a collective network around you. This network runs automatically. When someone tries to attack you now, you don't stand alone. 5 or 6 people placed in your life feel an intuitive pull to pray for you, to send positive energy at the exact moment it's needed. They don't know why they think of you at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. They just feel it and do it. And that combined energy creates a barrier far stronger than any individual shield, an army of guardian forces working in shifts without anyone realizing they're part of a coordinated defense. And it doesn't stop with people you know. There are strangers in other cities who were spiritually directed to include you in their prayers. People who dreamed of someone like you asking for protection, then woke with certainty that they must pray for that person daily. You became a collective project of higher dimensions, a soul considered valuable in the war between light and darkness, protected on an international scale. So understand this: when someone tries to attack you now, they don't face only your light. They face the combined power of countless people acting as energetic batteries around you. Now, why are people like you targeted? Because it's not random. Witchcraft costs time, energy, resources. They don't waste it on insignificant targets. They target those who interfere with their plans, those whose existence disrupts manipulation systems that rely on keeping humanity trapped in fear and desperation. You are attacked because your natural light harms their business. Every time you choose genuine kindness, you prove hope exists. Every act of compassion inspires someone else to rise. Every time you forgive instead of seeking revenge, you break cycles of hatred that feed their work. Your life is anti-magic because it's an antidote to the emotional toxins they need to stay empowered. That's why they tried to remove you early. The fact that 7 experienced practitioners united specifically to eliminate you is not an insult. It's confirmation. You matter. And now that you survived, now that you permanently destroyed their capacity to harm, you became a symbol for other light warriors who haven't awakened yet. Your story tells them you can defeat darkness without technical knowledge, through purity alone. You became proof that light wins, even when the other side has more skills. Your victory bought time for a generation. The more people awaken, the harder it becomes for dark systems to hold control. You triggered a chain reaction that could collapse organized black magic structures in Brazil. Now it's time for the next step. Conscious awareness. Because even though you dismantled the original 7 and terrified hundreds, new practitioners enter the occult world all the time. Some will be foolish enough to test the legend. So you need spiritual situational awareness, the ability to recognize an attack before it fully manifests. The signs are consistent: sudden clusters of problems, rapid-fire obstacles like someone is probing your defenses, key people acting strangely, opportunities collapsing at the last second for no rational reason. When you see that pattern, don't panic. Your light already handles it. Your job is to accelerate the process. Here's the technique. When you sense an attack, close your eyes for 5 minutes. Visualize golden light leaving your chest and expanding outward in a wide radius. Don't aim it. Don't chase anyone. Your light already knows how to trace the source. This is you consciously activating what your subconscious already does. For persistent cases, visualize the attacker enveloped in such intense light that they lose interest in dark work and develop an irresistible urge to help people. Your power doesn't only block, it can reprogram. It can force conversion through purity, especially when there's still a buried fragment of goodness inside them. For extreme cases, visualize that person being permanently disconnected from any supernatural energy source, not harmed physically, not destroyed as a human being, simply returned to ordinary life without access to powers they abuse. But remember this, never use these techniques on people who simply dislike you. Only when you're certain you're dealing with genuine spiritual aggression. The universe trusts you because you're meant to use light as a weapon only when darkness threatens the safety of innocence. And now comes the truth most people aren't ready to hear. You're not here only to protect yourself. You are positioned in the physical world as an automatic hunter of practitioners who harm the vulnerable. Every time someone attacks you and loses their power, you protect hundreds of future targets they would have harmed. Your personal victory creates community protection. That's why attacks come to you. It's not coincidence. It's strategy. You are irresistible bait to spiritual predators, so they expose themselves and get neutralized before they can do mass damage. Your light is a trap, and now that you understand your mission, you can operate with more intention. Instead of waiting passively for witches to come to you, you can begin identifying dark practitioners in your environment and neutralizing their ability before they choose victims. The method is simple. When you meet someone new, pay attention to what your body says, especially your gut. If you feel sudden discomfort around them, especially paired with an obsessive interest in occult harm, it's a warning. You don't confront. You don't argue. You visualize golden light from your heart, wrapping them for a few seconds. If they are a harmful practitioner, they lose access and develop aversion to occult harm. If they are a sincere seeker, the light strengthens their connection to higher guidance. It's a test that protects innocence and neutralizes threats without collateral damage. Do this consistently, and you can cleanse an entire city of destructive operators in months. Imagine a region where no one can weaponize supernatural power against others, where conflict must be handled through conversation, law, and human accountability. That reality is buildable. Expand from your area to neighboring cities, then states, then beyond. Your mission has no geographic ceiling. You're authorized by higher dimensions to neutralize destructive occult power wherever it threatens innocence. That is the prophetic truth behind what happened 2 weeks ago. You're not a victim who got lucky. You're a spiritual warrior, disguised as a civilian, activated to eliminate predatory forces. Those 7 witches thought they'd found an easy target. Instead, they met a purifying force that made them incapable of harming any living being. Your victory wasn't just self-defense. It was a public demonstration of a universal law. Light always conquers darkness, no matter how organized the darkness becomes. If this confirms something you've always sensed about yourself, then you already know what you are. And if you're ready to live with awareness, to recognize the signs, to consciously amplify the protection you carry, then you're ready for the next level. Write 777 to anchor that frequency, and remember, spiritual warriors don't always look like warriors. Sometimes they look like ordinary people who simply refuse to become dark, no matter what darkness tries to do to them.